5 rounds. Every card tells a story. Some people watch fight. We study.
From the prelum lights to the title fight glow. Every round gotta listen if you're watching it slow. Not chasing hot takes, we're chasing what's true. Finding diamonds in the regional scene before they break through. We respect every style, every path, every craft. Breaking take frame by frame while the rest just react. No gimmicks, just rhythm. Every breakdown precise where the numbers meet the norms. That's the edge, that's the price.
Folks, this podcast is brought to you by King Arthur Capital Group. Fund your fight camp, showing fighters how to leverage credit and capital so they can treat their career like a business. Love sharing that information with as many people out there as possible. If you're looking to make your career work a little bit better for you, treating it a little bit more like a business along the way, find those people at Fund Your Fight Camp on Instagram. Also, check out my Interlude episode with David King, Arthur McElroy. Check out Fight Club Crate, mystery fight gear, knockout prices, undisputed value, combat sports boxes delivered monthly. Use my promo code TAPTHAT15 at Fight Club Crate for 15% off your first purchase. And follow those folks on Instagram at Fight Club Crate. Very cool stuff that they're adding to their repertoire all the time. Finally, a winner of a gift idea for the combat connoisseur in your life. And Substats is the analytics and intelligence platform for competitive grappling, giving promoters, leagues, and commentators the data they've never had. Matchmaking tools, athlete profiles, event breakdowns, and match analysis powered by computer vision. If you compete, promote, or you just love competitive grappling, check them out at substats.app. And if you're into competitive grappling, Substats is building the analytics layer the sport has been missing. Athlete profiles, event intelligence, and match breakdowns. Check them out at substats.app and at Substats on Instagram. Use my promo code TAPTHAT for 10% off of your initial purchase with Substats. And what is up, everybody? This is Brady Grove bringing you another Interlude episode of the Tap That MMA podcast in this 4th of July weekend, week off of the UFC, the eye before the storm, or the calm before the storm, right before Conor McGregor apparently is going to be making his comeback to the UFC. But with me today, so there's a lot of needs out there for everybody involved in the world of the business of combat sports, whether you're an athlete trying to make their way up and find, career opportunities that'll further you along at the pace you want. Promoters looking for fights and fighters to, put on your events. If you're ring girls looking for opportunities, you're always wondering, where can you go to hopefully make that process easier. And with me today of the Stryker Fight Network, Charles Miller. Charles, thank you so much for being here, man. How's it going?
It's going good, man. I've been looking forward to seeing and talking to you. Good time, 250 years for the country. I've been enjoying myself, eating a little too much.
I mean, it's impossible. Yesterday I go a bit overboard for these summer grill heavy holidays, but as a dad, that's the peak of what your days off and existence can be is those kinds of holidays. So I go way overboard. I forgot to boil potatoes yesterday before I made potato salad. It ended up being a casserole. It was the whole thing. But no, those are fun holidays. What did you think of the UFC White House event? Because really, so much, hype and controversy went into it. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you pay attention to just the fights, it was a very entertaining event. But what was your personal take on it? Since this is the 4th of July weekend, and that was a big thing for America this year. I can't hear you right now. I lost your volume. I lost your audio. Charles, I can't hear you, man.
Agent, all that, and The matchmaker did an incredible job putting those fights together. I thought they were great fights. I thought it was a great show, one of the best I've ever seen.
I'm glad that you finished, but I lost you for a second. I couldn't hear you, and you couldn't hear me, but I could see you talking still. But I'm glad that like you
The
finished.
music is on. Your music is on. Yeah, your intro music.
Why? I have it paused on here. That is bizarre. What the hell? I'm not playing it. Is it? I see. I just muted my background music. All right. It's off now. What
it's off now.
Anyway,
I like that song though.
Isn't it like? It's crazy because as I've transitioned to this more of like video kind of format and streaming and stuff, I had to like force myself to like take like 15 seconds to learn how certain stuff works. And I made a free trial on some like AI song website, and I was like, song for my MMA podcast. Do it in styling of like a Tribe Called Quest or something.
Yeah.
And that was what it came up with, and I was like, God damn! Like that was the first attempt. That took like 5 minutes. It was amazing. The things you can do with technology, like in this, in this era, is incredible. So it's just about me not being so lazy and like figuring out like how it works. But no, like back to the card because I that's the thing, like. Dude, they gave Justin Gaethje like a boogeyman opponent at UFC White House.
Yes.
That's the thing, and this is what I've said every time I've talked to someone about it since then. Is if Justin Gaethje had beaten Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier or Max Holloway for the UFC lightweight title, you'd be like, okay. But it's because Ilya went to 160 pounds to fight some boxer, or did this to go fight Islam at 170 pounds or something goofy. But this was him beating the legitimate guy that everybody thought was the number one lightweight in the world. It gives it so much more value. It's like so many other of the upsets in UFC history where like sometimes people win a title and unfortunately like Evander Holyfield, the way he won the heavyweight title, fans never forgave him for it, like in boxing, and not having to beat Mike Tyson. But in getting just the right timing, and you put the best performance of your career at exactly the right time, like Justin Gaethje did, and his whole career will have this different stratosphere of legacy because of that event.
Where it was. And who he was fighting, man, in hands are steel. Oh man, I couldn't believe the guys. I mean, I thought it was a great performance. The whole show was put together so nice. I was taking notes, But that matchmaker was incredible. Whoever put those matches together, the big applause to them too. Some great fights.
Yeah, and like the other thing I said is like it's weird in this sport to get a Hollywood storybook ending to an event. Like normally, like when people are wanting a storybook ending, like oh my god, I hope Charles beats Ilya, or oh my god, I hope this guy beats Islam Makhachev. Most of the time it doesn't happen because, we know in this sport when sometimes like something better has just come along. That happens in weight classes. When like your favorite fighter's probably past his best days. But for this to actually have a storybook ending is crazy. Like it's not something we're meant to expect in a sport where it's like, all right, this guy's trying to finally win the outright UFC lightweight championship at the age of 37 against a guy that's been like sniping everybody out cold. Like that exactly. Seems a little far-fetched, but oh my god, it happened. So it was a perfect capper to an event like that. And I've discussed it with a few people now, and I think we all kind of appreciate it a little bit more as time goes on. Like when you think back and you're like, no, I think that was an awesome event. As more time passes, I just am like reaffirming that feeling.
I didn't see it going that way. Like just totally dominating like that. I didn't see that coming.
And I really like, for all the kind of like cornier elements of it, like that you thought would be really bad before the event, like nothing really was so off-putting about the event, like the way it was done, like like they for an event that is at the White House, while a president lives there, that was about as unpolitical as kind of an event at the White House could have possibly been. It was weird. I actually expected there to be a lot of goofy elements to it. I didn't know. I really like forget the two things that Josh Hoke had said in his post-fight interview, which you just call like a wash. Like you knew he was going to say something goofy. Like he actually was pretty tame for the for what I thought would happen at UFC White House. You imagine so many goofy things that could happen at an event like that because you just know how UFC fighters are, and it's a big stage. And I really wouldn't be able to blame anybody for doing something so crazy just because like, dude, more eyes are on me than any other time before in my career, maybe ever in my career that will ever happen. Exactly. What do I do with this time on the microphone? And really, nobody seemed to get like, but again, like, Josh Hogan didn't say the most tasteful of things afterwards, but like, you knew he wouldn't. So it's not really that shocking.
Yeah, it was still kind of tame, though. I thought everybody basically get respect. They knew where they were and they acted accordingly, but
so what is your what is your personal kind of backstory in combat sports, like leading up to that? Because really I wasn't able to like find like a topology page that I was like confident was you but like leading up to this. So like, what's your personal history in combat sports?
Well, my I grew up in Detroit, Ohio. So I was always in the boxing and going to boxing gyms. I was more of a basketball player, track runner. I boxed a little bit in Ohio when I was three. I am 55. I came back into the sport like 6 years ago, training, working with some young guys. And helping my coach out. But I've been a fight fan since I can remember. I grew up next to Michael Doak's mother, the heavyweight champ in boxing, and I've just always been attracted to it. I fight still and like exhibitions we go at the gym and stuff like that. So really, my thing is just always upset been around fighters. But I've always known the need fighters. With the fighters always told me what's happening to get fights when they got fights. I've seen the struggle of fighters trying to get themselves in positions, get endorsements, and things like that.
And with your because I think we're seeing more people now enter into combat sports who have a background in track and basketball, and football's always been one, but like Dominic Reyes was a baseball player, so was Waldo. I think Dominic Reyes played baseball, and I think we're seeing more guys with more athletic backgrounds going into combat sports now, and MMA later in life, and that's interesting because really in 2008, if you heard that a UFC fighter was a former college basketball player, he would have. I really think they would have run circles around a lot of the fighters at the time because there was bad sports athletes that had a different level of agility. So now we're seeing guys that are coming in with histories in basketball and baseball and other sports and track, but they're not necessarily getting to the top because there is still the skill gap for somebody who wasn't able to participate in combat sports very early in life and, have some of those things about grappling and everything just become a part of muscle memory. What do you think is the next step for athletes who have a more like traditionally athletic background in getting to the next level in professional MMA? Because take like I've had Julius Walker on this show before. He was he just fought the other day on the UFC card. He is a former college basketball player, and when you watch him when he would fight at like light heavyweight and heavyweight on the regional circuit, it's like this guy is a step faster and a step more athletic than like everybody he's facing. And in the UFC, you're just meeting up with guys that are like from Russia that are just more natural MMA fighters. It's a lot more in their fiber and in their bones. Because I think that this is going to be an important part about the future of fighting is like guys with a more gifted birth, like athletic inclination, just guys that are more athletic, that are making their way into MMA. What do you think is the next step for those guys finding finding their way to the next plateau of success?
Well,
Well, a lot of the fighters that come into our gym are
ex-football
ex-football
players,
players,
basketball
basketball
players,
players,
a lot of
a lot
guys
of
from
guys from
soccer come
soccer
in.
come in.
You got your
You got your
wrestlers gonna
wrestlers
come
gonna
in.
come in.
The
The
competitiveness
competitiveness of
like
like
college
college
athlete,
athlete.
these guys,
These guys,
a lot
a
of
lot
times
of
the
times
gap
the
in
gap in
fighting and
fighting and
training is
training
how
is
long
how
have you
long
been
have you been
conditioning your
conditioning your
body,
body,
your
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 agility, like you
agility, like
said,
you said, and
and ability
ability to
to
you know to
keep all this in your head and use it on the stage. I think that's a lot of what's going on, and the athletic ability of some of these guys is could get them far, get them far in the sport. But like you say, these jujitsu guys in jujitsu have been doing this their whole. Some guys been doing this since they were kids, and they just naturally do some things. Just they just know the game a little bit better. But I believe that a lot of these guys are coming in because they missed the competitiveness of it, and they've been playing team sports, and now it's all on me. I can make it work. Um, Man, I know guys talk a lot about Jake Paul and people like that in boxing, and some of these guys is coming up. But man, I give a lot of guys. I'll never hold something back from guys. We got a couple guys in our gym just started training, and I could see them doing some big things. It's just I think your work ethic, your drive, and knowing you have a long way to keep up is going to get you somewhere in this sport. We may be able to see a ex-football player or something win a championship. We just, these guys are athletes, and athletes now, I believe, are, I don't know if it's the food or what. I always say it's something in that food because these kids are a lot different from when I was young. They're able to do a lot of other things. And then a lot of guys have been doing stuff just out of, just fun and knowing guys that's in the grappling. There's a lot of guys that come in, they know a little bit, but they started playing other sports and now they're getting back into it. So I don't never disqualify somebody because they haven't done it for a long time. I believe your drive and your heart and your mind can get you where you want to be. And then there's a place for it. That's what Stryker's about. We want to build a championship. It's places for our platform is about the pros too, but we're more about amateurs building a legacy even in the amateur. Some of these amateur fighters just don't get the look, man, but they're great. The personalities are great. They got great stories. And that's what Stryker's about, man. Like giving these guys a spotlight and putting on some shows and getting these guys where they need to be.
And so that's a good segue. Talk a little bit about the foundation of Stryker Fight Network, like why it was created, what it is right now, and what you're hoping it'll be in the years moving forward.
All right. Yeah. So, man, we have some great fighters at the Matrix MMA here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Our coach is Todd Monroe. We got a fighter named DeWitt Dixon, fight at 170. Man, he would get all the way. He's a killer. He would get all the way up to fight night, and the guy would pull out. We have another fighter, Christian McCray. He's not pro. DeWitt's pro. Christian McCray is amateur. get all the way up to the fight, they pull out. Osvaldo Gonzalez, who I believe could be the first uh, boxing champ and MMA champ. He's that good. And these guys duck him, man. I asked my coach, I said, man, what happens with this, man? You know, the promoters, they paid all this money. People are buying tickets. I mean, it's coming up to the day of the fight or weigh-ins, and these guys are dropping out. And these people are traveling. A lot of the fighters' families travel. And I was asking my coach, what can they do about it? And it's just like, hey, they try to find a replacement, or it's just, as the fight's over and he just try to find somebody else. And the next time, but the reason I came up with Stryker Fight Network at first is I came up with a scoring system for fight night reliability. That was the way it came to mind. A way for the promoters, gyms, and fighters to know, hey, this guy's been booked 3 times. He doesn't make weight, or he isn't showing up for fights. And even if he is coming in the fight, he's not in good conditioning. He's not putting on a good performance. And I'm a fight fan as well as a fighter, but my thing is people are paying their money. These guys are putting their life on the line to cut weight. It's not an easy thing, man. And they're training, taking time away from their families for somebody just to say, hey, I'm not fighting that night. So it's just a way to kind of, I was coming up with a way to kind of keep track of this for the promoters, for the coaches, the gyms, and the fighters and the fight fans to know, hey, this guy's showing up, and I think those guys need to have the chances, more chances. You got a guy sitting back looking for a fight, and he could have been on your card, but you pulled this guy, and he doesn't even show up. That was the foundation of why we started Stryker.
So, and this is something I talk about on this show all the time, because the main guests on this show throughout the history of it have been like amateur and pro fighters that are, in some way on their way up, or they've established like a good niche, like with a good, like a, regional promotion, but it's people that are existing in the realm that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And something I always love to discuss with people is the difference between a quality regional MMA promotion and a bad quality regional promotion.
Yeah.
The gap is significant. And it's not like you used to see maybe a decade ago, like where there were some just absolute bum alley like organizations that you could not be trusted at all. The thing is, everybody's got a social media presence now, and I think people are more afraid to fail when they know that like they're putting things out there for people to watch. I think before you could kind of hide a little bit more if you were a promotion that sucked. But but there's some regional promotions that do really good business and put on great events. Yet like something I'm always talking about is the New England fight scene, which used to be a very robust regional scene, and it still absolutely is. You see a lot of prospects come out of there, but they don't do those prospects any favors with the way that they match make on a lot of those cards. I think that they set them up with a lot of people that it's like, dude, you'll be a minus 4,000 favorite against this guy. Like this guy should not be fighting a young murderer like you. So, but then like I talk all the time about the quality of like Ohio Combat League. I've been to a lot of their shows, and I think they put on really good events. And everybody, BKFC, these are all like groups that like in different ways people talk. And you've never talked to anybody that had like too many bad things to say about like how like doing business with them. That makes a big difference because, as you said, imagine a fighter on the regional scene, someone 5-2 as a pro, maybe 28 years old or whatever it is, and they travel. We're buffering. To go to Oklahoma to go fight somebody on some card, and then it ends up getting pulled at the last second. It's like, dude, that's not that's not a mistake that a lot of people can even afford at that situation. People put a lot in to, taking up an opportunity like that. And so being able to evaluate, what promotions, what fighters are trustworthy, that's a tool that should be evaluated on everybody's end. It's just good business for a promotion to make sure that you're getting something safer. And if you're a fighter, you absolutely want to be as confident as possible that if you sign for a fight, that fight's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a big deal. We put the AI matchmaking into the Stryker Fight Network too, and it's you can do virtual sparring against the guy you're supposed to be fighting. Everybody putting their record up on there. You put your name with another guy, and you tag yourself. I'm a brawler, southpaw brawler, submission. I'm good at submission. And then you kind of can see everybody's uploading their videos, and I got a trash talk feed on there, a call out feed. I got the guys stay readies. We got stay readies on there. Guys that's like, hey, I'm gonna make 145 and I'll be ready 2 days. If you call me in 2 days, I'll be ready. I'm training every day. So that helps the promoters out there, helps the fighters out, and all the guys are in one space. A lot of the times these guys are getting matched up with guys that, like, the promoters are making shows. Hey, for the gyms are trying to get their fighters fights. The reach to get guys that could easily match up with is short, is more regional. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys don't have the money or the backing to travel from Florida all the way to Nevada to fight a guy. And that's what we're trying to work on. The Stryker is more about building your career. It helps you find fights, but it's about building your career. We have a send a tip to a fighter on there. You could just send a guy, buy him a cup of coffee. You seen him training that morning. You can sell your training. You can sell, just work with a guy, virtual sparring, virtual coaching, your meal plans. You can sell your merch. We're trying to help these guys build money, and I'm trying to get the fighters on there and get the sponsors on there, Everlast, CRNR, and all those kind of guys, Hayabusa, all those on here. And, instead of just trying to take all the money from them, hey, man, we want you to sponsor. You get your place on the platform to sell your stuff, but we want you to at least sponsor 5 fighters, amateur fighters. And the guys go on there and sell themselves. And I also have it where templates where it helps you sell yourself to a management company, to a promotion, to a sponsor. A lot of guys don't know how to approach this. Stryker is to help you build your career, not only build your career in fighting, but on in life, to learn some tricks and trades and ways to go about building your own business when you get out of the fight game. Our gym builds young men and women up for life. The fighting is a part of it, but we supposed to be building these kids up for life, not just getting a couple dollars out of them. They supposed to leave our gyms better than they came, with more knowledge about fighting and life.
And there's so many things that I want to go back to because, like, this was the amazing thing about, like, when we first talked on the phone, and you were explaining a lot of those to me. It is crazy how many details have been thought of for Stryker Fight Network. Like, because you see a lot of groups that try to do similar things, or there's a lot of different management companies, networks, Instagram profiles, whatever the hell that's out there for fighters. It can be hard to stick out, but what's amazing when you dive into Stryker Fight Network is, like, trash talk feeds, call out feeds, virtual. What is virtual sparring, dude? Like, how do you virtually spar an opponent you're AI matched up with?
Well, virtual sparring it's more of a quick quiz. So it's to help you build your IQ. So Charles versus Brady, we put that in, right? It generates a fight scenario. And in that fight scenario, they back you up in the corner and they ask you 3 ABC, what should you do? And you sitting there and you thinking, well, if he backs me up, Am I gonna roll out, grab, or and you gotta answer, but you gotta answer quick because you gotta make a decision quick. So it's a way you sitting there instead of just rolling on your picture, looking at other people live out their life on Instagram and stuff. You can sit there and train yourselves, get your mind sharp. I love fighters. I love fighting. We need to build that IQ up. Guys will get hurt less. There'll be, better chance to get ahead. So virtual sparring is, hey, this is the scenario A, B, or C. What do you do? And it marks you wrong or right. Now, this will translate in your mind and gets your mind thinking. I tell my fighters, watch fights, watch this stuff, listen to the commentators. And then you can also put it together, me against you, and it'll put the fight together, what's happening. And as it's telling you, round one, Brady comes out pumping the jab. Charles trying to keep his head off the line. And so then it just tells you what you should do next. Then it'll open up the second round. All right, Charles keeping his head off the line. He's slipping, going to the body. They'll tell you what goes on next. It's just a way it's like putting your mind in a situation. Like you can't always think of these things, remember these things when you're inspiring. And coaches aren't always there to give every fighter that kind of information.
That is amazing, dude. I did not know that such technology existed. But honestly, like that sounds like if you're a fighter, like that would be addictive if you got into. Like it sounds like if you really started, like it'd be impossible not just to be like, all right, well, how about me against Travis Brown, like in 2014. Like it would be so hard to give that up. But no, there really are so many details of Stryker Fight Network, which make it really make it stand out. Now, like, how do you try to get that message out to people? Because all these things that make Stryker Fight Network, is so impressive of a compilation. Are things that you don't necessarily you wouldn't necessarily pick up from looking at an Instagram profile. The fact that it comes from somebody with the right kind of background to think of all these things and these factors to make life better and easier for fighters. It's really hard for that to come through in like an Instagram bio and everything, or the words you're looking to, or a picture. So how do you try to get that message out there to people, like about what you do differently than other entities that are out there?
Yeah, well, mainly guys like you. That's really been helping us. Me and you had a conversation. I had a couple conversations with a couple other people. Some of the things that I'm learning, man. I'm a heating and air condition tech. I'm not an AI. These guys wanted so much money to build this thing, and I had to sit down and just try to build it myself. Everything that I'm doing right now is to keep the money for the fighters. Like I was gonna try to put it up on the App Store. Anything you sell on there, they're gonna take money from it. I could take that money and sponsor a fighter if it's just giving them gas and money to get to a fight. So what we've been trying to use is just fighters spreading it to other fighters. We're really just trying to concentrate now in the Southeast region where we mainly have fights at with fighters. And it's taking some time to build, but I believe if I build, our team is trying to word of mouth it and putting it up and try to gain some interest. We getting people who are interested and just want to help us out, promote it. But it's for fighters, and I want the fighters to build it, and I'm just trying to come up with ways like this interview. I'm not a marketing guy. Like I say, I coach fighters and help my coach out, and I try to just be there. That gym, all the guys in the gym call me Unc. I'm not a marketer. I'm not but the passion for it made me do it. I sat here nights and did it, just sat and did it because I'm just thinking about these fighters, man. I love fighters. The personalities, man, is just so really right now is guys like you helping me. We had a contact, and I don't want to say anything about it, that reached out to us. UFC, he's like one of the guys that brought UFC into play. He's one of the founder fighters. He spoke with us, so we're starting to gain some traction. I think my love and the meaning of it and where our heart is with it will get out. We just got to let people know about it. I'm trying to keep as much money for these fighters on this platform as possible to help the fighters, man. So guys like you are helping us a lot.
Well, and I agree. Like, that's a big part of why I enjoy doing this podcast. Is like I just like talking to fighters. Like,
Yeah,
even if no one ever watched anything that I ever did, it'd still be like a conversation with a 6-3 dude from Cage Fury. Is like, oh, what was that last fight like? Like, I'm
yeah,
still interested to hear what they have to say about stuff. Yeah. So a lot of interesting personalities there, and there's so many like potentially winning personalities out there,
yeah,
that you just can't necessarily see, and you just never know who like where the next superstar might come from. People gravitate towards different types of personalities, and then all that comes next is like who delivers and who is really like who wins in the big fights. But also what you said about serving the Southeast, because the Southeast is definitely an area of regional MMA where you'd say like more guidance for people would probably be helpful, because when you get to some of these states, like I think like Alabama, Florida, I think you see a lot of promotions out of those states, and you see a lot of talented fighters come out of those states. But you also have like a lot of promotions. There's kind of
yeah.
a lot of noise that like so with certain fighters, you don't know to look for them or don't know to trust their resume as much, because there's so many promotions out there that there's a new one. It seems like all the time in the Southeast, and you just don't know the quality of it, so it makes them hard to evaluate. So, what do you think are some of the things like right now in the Southeast region of regional MMA that one makes it a great place for MMA prospects to be coming out of, and also makes it like like what are the challenges that people in this region have in trying to further in their career?
Well, I think finding the fights. I see it. It seems to me I see a lot of rotation of fights. Um, um, always going to be some favorites and stuff like that. Um, I seems to me that I'm from Detroit. I lived in Detroit and Ohio most of my life in West Virginia. Um, it seems to me that the gyms and the promotions are not working together like they should. More to me, it seems like our gym is. My coach, he said, go to this gym. Some gyms are better at jujitsu. Some gyms are, just to get some better work. You don't see that rotation like you do in up north, and where the guys go to other gyms, get together and spar. Um, I think I won't say a division, but not working together as much. And so when you're not working together like that, your fighters are only going to be as good as the people in your gym most of the time. I mean, we need to be pushing each other. You hear about it all the time up north. This guy's sparred with this guy, work with this guy. It's not as much down here. And so what I've been seeing mainly since I've been down here is that the gyms and the promotions aren't working together to bring these guys out. So, even me right now, that's my plan with strikers to start a striker fight championship and bring these guys from the region together. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, all of them, and have a regional fight. Then, bring it all the way up until a championship where the best fighters in all these states come together for one championship fight. You fight your way to the championship. So that's what I'm working on now, and another way to build the app up. But it's also a way to get these fighters in front of other guys. You got to be ready for when you get to that big stage. And there's some guys down here that are really good. You're not seeing them, and they're not seeing each other. Like, you don't know what your fighter's made out of. He's only been fighting in this we got to see what these guys are made of and give them a chance to see other fighters. I don't know. It's just sometimes I get the feeling that I don't. I'm not so much into your fighter getting ahead. That mean mine won't. But if a fighter comes out of North Carolina and he's something, some guys are gonna start looking in North Carolina for fighters. I mean, it's like that in everything. I mean, basketball, football. You go to Florida and Texas looking for football players. So I just think it's across the board. As guys need to work more with each other, and that's what I'm trying to build. These fighters can handle themselves. They just need to know what they need to do. And most fighters, they're willing to go to another gym or work with another promotion. They just don't know them. So I'm just trying to open it up for everybody here and try to get some of these gyms and things to work together.
And it's so important, it seems like, on the, in those early stages of people's careers, amateur and pro, that like venturing outside of your comfort zone or of your like bubble, whatever it is, like that's an important thing, because we've all seen too, like people who, like there's a guy that is like absolutely the baddest dude at a particular gym or location, whatever. And it's like, oh my God, this guy's going to absolutely murder whoever he fights in, his upcoming fight. And then that doesn't happen. And it's like, oh my God, what are other people up to sometimes? Like,
Yeah,
so there's and that's valuable to several people in that situation, just being able to see what else is out there, what people are doing, appreciate the level that some people are on of this, and know what it takes to get to that point. That's it. That's why, a greater network for fighters is always going to be beneficial, because it's it's comfortable and easy to be the best dude out of five people. It's very
yeah.
hard to put yourself in a pool of 40 people and see how you come out that way.
That's right, Brady. You said a mouthful there, man. And I think that's another reason why I made it. This is like a social network for the fighters. Like I look at it like this. You on Instagram, you get a like, you get a thumb up. Hey, everybody liked your video. But this is a network of fighters who really know what they're looking at. Hey man, that guy's good. His footwork is good, man. I like to get some rounds with him. And the guys can talk to each other like that, and pretty much say, hey man, what's up? When you want to do some work, or and most of the time these guys are only knowing each other because they end up at a fight together. They end up fighting each other and gain some respect. And they may say, hey man, I'm gonna come up to Greensboro where we're at and work with you. And our fighters are always looking for some good work, and we try to get them other places. And I think that's why our fighters are great. Like, we get them work where we can get them work at. And a lot of these guys are not like that. And you shouldn't hold a fighter back because you don't like a coach or you don't like a gym or whatever your feelings are with that. My coach is whatever it takes for our fighters to get better. That's what we're going to do. It's about the fighter. It's not about egos and reputations and stuff like that. We want give these guys a chance at something, man. And it takes heart to get in that cage, in the ring, on the mat, any of that. It takes heart, man. And you don't want to hold somebody back because of it's principles over the personalities. What is the main goal of me being a coach or a promoter? You know what I mean?
And gym rivalries, even like the sentence, or like the phrase gym rivalries even sounds a little
Yeah.
silly. But like the thing about like, on one hand, I get it. I get that for athletes, there's always like someone you're looking to like be competitive with in your own mind, and like also just kind of like look at as like the villain. Like, and hold on, we're
Yeah.
buffering here. All right, there we go. So when like your teammates are going against people who are all from like another gym, like there's a bunch of fights like that on a local card. It's very natural for people to be like, yeah, like fuck them. Like,
Yeah.
it's very Very long. Like it's just a little leap we make as humans, like that makes that stuff make a little bit more sense. On the other hand, real gym rivalries are hilarious because there's no reason for them. Like
Yeah,
for the most part, you've never heard of a anything more than a conflict between one or two people that then becomes something that like 50 people are somehow involved with. It's like, yeah, we don't like that group of people.
yeah, we don't like that gym. Yeah.
Just
Or a
do
guy gets kicked out of gym and goes to another gym and put the bad word out, and you just didn't pay your gym dues. Now you know,
like, you can never trust one-sided stories, man. There's
yeah,
very few people in the world that I would trust on their side of the story alone.
yeah,
And like live in my house. So, but yeah, it's a funny thing that's even. But we all know, like, if you've talked to any like fighters or you've spent any time at like any particular gym, like even a day, you know that those are real things. Like there are actually gyms out there with beefs against one another, and it affects a lot more people than it should affect.
yeah. Well, I thought about this a lot, and so I put a gym war on there on Striker. So on Striker we had the gym wars. Now this ain't about your mouth, running your mouth. We tracking miles, rounds sparred, workouts, burpees. So you log it up. So it's Rove against Miller gym, you know. So we putting in miles, burpees. We got so many sparring rounds. We logging it in. Now a guy asked me, said, "Well, man, how you know they telling the truth?" We'll know when they go to fight. Like I don't think he ran that many miles. You know what I mean? So it's just I've thought of all kind of ways to kind of make it where it's not so much a mouth thing about he said, she said. It's more of a, hey, we can go on here and log our miles in, we can log our records in, have gym wars and things like that. You can put a stakes up against, hey, my fight against your fighter. We put the money towards the dues. One of your fighters' dues. You can, it's kind of a wager, but it's like, hey, if I win, it goes towards your fighter's gym dues. It goes towards this, or his next fight for his medicals or anything like that. So, I put something up for that also, just to have guys could have gym wars like that, just kind of about training and fighting.
Dude, that is an amazing feature.
Yeah.
That. My God, yeah. I mean, you see, like why I started like cracking up when she started talking about this is because like every time we bring up a topic of something, it could be like a niche topic in MMA, like gym rivalries, and you're like, I have a feature for that too. I thought
Yeah.
of that. You gotta
Yeah.
be this guy thought of everything. Um,
Yeah.
so now, like, what do you right now? What are some of the like regional promotions that you think like are doing some like fine work in the area? Like what are the promotions in the southeast you think have had like a good year 2026 and like being able to put on events and those events seem to be quality.
Yeah, well, Fight For It is a great one. Those guys put on a good show. We're going down this week, actually coming up the 10th. One of our top fighters is Valdo Gonzalez. That's somebody you might want to get on here and talk to, man. He's going places. He fights at 135 down to 125. He's fighting on the NFC card, and their cards are incredible. The last one we went to was in the middle of the bar in the Brave Stadium. It was incredible, man. Rocket Combat. What's the other one? TLC. It's some great ones down here. But I think in our region right here like right here in Greensboro is Fight For It, like in Charlotte area, Fight For It, and those are kind of the bigger ones down here. Fight For It is probably one of the best ones here.
And so along with kind of like expanding their horizons, expanding their networks. Like, what do you think? So, because this is an era too where it's hard to imagine a fighter progressing, as they would want to in their career without some sort of social media presence. Because
Exactly.
you need people to be able to find you. It makes it a lot easier. Generally promotions, you got to take that into consideration. How notable on the internet is this guy that we're thinking about, like sign like to bring in for this main event? You have to think about that stuff.
Yeah.
But but it's also like there's so much noise out there, and so many fighters have tried so many different things to try to market their own brand. What do you think are the things that today that fighters aren't doing that might help them advance in their career or stand out a little bit more?
Well, Brad, I know you're gonna laugh at this. We have a fighter family, a fighter business hub. All right. A lot of people don't understand. I believe that there's a timing. There's a there's a science to this. To You posting videos is okay, but what time are you posting them? How many times a day are you posting them? What are the key words and how short are they? Um, what is your target audience? You can set those kind of things. There's things on those platforms. There's a YouTube university. You can actually go on YouTube and they'll show you how to get it benefits them for you to get a big following because they can run their ads on there. So we got to remember what this is about. You got to make it where they can sell their stuff and they will make sure your video will fit in the algorithm. This stuff is a science. It's not just about, hey, it's a good video. So I know guys that's got the best knockouts, takedowns, but when are you putting it up? And what are you saying in your post? So in the Fighter Business Hub, we teach you how to trash talk. Like, what do you need to be saying? And it's just a blueprint. You make it into your words, but it's telling you, hey, you need to post this between 7 and 9 in the morning, and then go back and post it between 12 and 3, and then post it between this time. You know what I mean? It's a method to it, but nobody is teaching you that. So we're trying to make it where, all right, this is where we do our work at on Stryker, but we're learning while we're on Stryker. We're getting these things together, and then you can take your videos and share them from Stryker over to your, the Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. But there is a science to that thing. It's not just you posting videos. And believe it or not, we have a fighter business hub that helps you do this. Like, how do you approach a promoter or endorsement? How do you so if you go in there and you put Brady Grove and it says you're 50-0, and this is a lot of what you're about, and that this I think this lines up with Everlast or whatever, and it writes the letter out for you, but it has your bio and things about you in it that it helps you to sell yourself. You have to sell yourself. A lot of guys know how to fight, they can train, but who's teaching them how to sell themselves? When should you approach a promotion or a manager or an endorsement or get sponsors? Like, we tell our guys to talk to businesses, and it's not that they're scared to do it, they don't know what to say or do. So we make a email just easily for you to take or print off and take it with a picture of yourself on there and take it to local businesses. They want to get behind you. They get tax breaks for getting behind you, but guys, they don't teach them that, man. And I think that's a big part of it. They need to learn how to sell. Some of these guys have big engines behind them, and that's why they're getting the kind of looks and the attention they're getting. They got an engine behind them, pushing and knowing how to handle it.
And It's interesting. Like when you said big engines behind them, it got me thinking more. Like, of course, like somebody who has this foundation behind them. You have a good network of sponsors. Like, and they're you have a little bit more, resources available. Suddenly, the call to drive 3,000 miles or whatever and be in an LFA event on a main card on a short notice thing, suddenly that becomes a possibility when it isn't for the people that don't have those sorts of things lined up for themselves.
Yeah. A lot of promoters and managers, they don't know about you. That they would love to have some of these fighters. It's these guys, these promoters are looking for fighters. We see how, like at our gym, how they're sending names in. We're sending names in, and you know, if somebody sends you a name and you can rarely say, "Oh yeah, you remember he fought on the last card, he fought such and such," then the competition is just revolving. I seen you, you seen me. We know what each other does, and like the reach, we need reach with these fighters. Some of these guys need to be going out to the Midwest fighting, going to New Orleans to fight. You in Ohio, you in New Orleans fighting. But that takes money, sponsorships, and stuff like that. But people are willing to, it's more fight fans than we believe. Like a lot of people, like if you tell, which most fighters do, some way or another, we find a way to tell somebody that we fight. They all have all these questions, man. Everybody loves or respects or is in awe of a fighter. Like some of the questions is, how do you let people hit you in the face like that? And that's your chance to kind of sell yourself. We get opportunities. No one's taught us how to use the opportunities, I would say.
Damn. Charles, we've put in about an hour here. This has been a fascinating conversation. I'm really glad to have you on to talk about Stryker Fight Network. And so, if there's anything else that you want to say or anybody else you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
All right, yeah, I like to just shout out all the fighters. If you see this, check us out on Stryker Fight Network. It's www.strikerfights.com. Right now, signing up, you'll be a founder fighter. You'll get, right now, it's free. Um, but get on there and check us out, man. Put your record up there and just go through and look at it, man. We help you cut weight. Uh, Everything a fighter needs is on that page. You can start networking with other fighters, promotions. If you're a vendor, you're like Brady here. You have a podcast, you can get on there, sell yourself. If you sell lights, rent chairs, you can get up there and put your stuff on there as a vendor. The ring girls, I'm gonna have a ring girl contest. You girls get on there and me and Brady talk about it. Ring girl should be one of the most famous people in the fight. So if you're anything announcers, anything, even if you're just an usher, there's a spot for you on Fighting Network, and you can get hired if the guys promotions need you. But I'm just asking you guys to get out and check it out. It's made by fighters for fighters, and it's all for you. It's not about the promotions or none of that. It's all about the fighters. Help you guys take control of your careers and get you a place even after your career is over. And I like to shout out the Matrix in Greensboro, Matrix MMA, Lindley Boxing in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Sweat Lab in Gibsonville, North Carolina. And good luck to Osvaldo Gonzalez on NFC this Friday. You guys check him out. His Instagram is Slumped F on Instagram, GNZ. And thanks, Brady Grove, again. I love your name, man. You know that.
Thanks to Charles Miller here of Stryker Fight Network. Folks, this has been another interlude episode of the Tap That MMA podcast. We're back to business as sort of usual with the UFC and that big event that's happening this upcoming weekend. Folks, thanks for listening on this 4th of July weekend, whatever day you end up having off. Have a good week and peace.
Go, Connor. Brady, thanks, man.